and welcome again to another power-packed edition of the Buena Vista Homes Real Estate Show. I know you're excited to see me. Well, in the past weeks, I've been showing you nice pictures and videos of the beautifully crafted homes at Buena Vista Homes. But today I have something special for you. I want to financially empower you just so your home ownership dreams or even your dream to invest in the real estate sector becomes a reality. You know I love to bring you the best. And so today I have a special guest for you. Uncle Kabana and Uncle Sami have been saying you should lay your property burdens on them. Today I have a man who says you should lay your home financial burdens on him. I call him the money man. Shortly I'll introduce him, but before then, let's go for a break. Where we do return, I'll introduce my guest and the conversation will begin. This is a Buena Vista Homes Real Estate Show. My name is Efia Fusua. We are back shortly. To stay.
Motion detectors, panic alarms, intercom and ring video doorbells, razor wire fencing, fire evacuation and intelligent detection systems, sectional garage doors automation, face recognition and biometric door locks, private security guard training and management services, and many more. With Intrasec security systems, you can have peace of mind knowing that your home and your family are safe and secure. Locate us at B450 Avandi Street, near KNUST Bomso in Kumasi. Contact us on the numbers below for more info and inquiries. Intrasec. We secure to protect.
Welcome back. You're watching the Buena Vista Homes Real Estate Show with me, Efia Fusua. We are streaming live on our YouTube handle. Please do subscribe just so you don't miss any of our videos. The show is proudly sponsored by Buena Vista Homes, where homes are not built but beautifully crafted. Right, as I earlier indicated, today we get to discuss financing options for your home. We'll get to explore the various options you can tap into to help you buy a home from Buena Vista Homes. Right, and I have my special guest seated with me. He is in the person of Kojo Ado Kufuor. He's the executive head of mortgage business at the First National Bank. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Ifea.
I made reference to you as a money man, so my viewers are happy to see you. This is actually an episode that I have been looking forward to for such a long time, because over time we've been talking about the different options for our viewers, particularly at Buena Vista Homes. Today we get to talk about how they can financial empowerment, just so they can, buy their homes finally. So we're happy to have you.
And I'm happy to be here. And I think, as you said, it's the most important part of the conversation, because it makes a difference between owning the home and not owning the home. The ability to buy it. Exactly.
Certainly, I like that. What is a home finance?
Right. So when reference is made to home finance or the mortgage product or a home loan, essentially we are talking about a loan that you take to buy a property. There are variations of it. It could be that, or it could be a home that is acquired, or a loan that is taken using the property as collateral. So it could be an existing homeowner who wants to take a loan using their home as collateral. But more often than not, when reference is made to the product, it's in the context of home ownership. Somebody who wants to buy property and needs financing.
Okay, so what are the different ways by which one can finance their home?
Well, you're either going to use your own money or you're going to borrow. If you're going to use your own money, there are people who can do that, who can write a check and buy a Buena Vista home outright. But others have to speak to institutions such as First National. They come to us, we look at their finances, and then we agree how much we can lend them. And then, so for example, if the house is 100,000, maybe they qualify for 70. And then it means they need to have 30,000 of their own money to bridge the gap. And the loan, there are peculiar features of this loan, which is what makes it interesting and actually makes it so powerful. Because normally when you think of a loan, the first thing people think of is, collateral. How do I qualify for this? Here's a loan where it's a substantial amount. in the order of hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes. And you come to it with no collateral, right? You take the loan, and the property that you acquire immediately becomes the collateral, right? So that's, that's quite clever when you think about it, because you wouldn't ordinarily have enough collateral to borrow that kind of money, but we'll give it to you and then take the collateral in the form of the house you just acquired, and then also give you a very long time to pay it back, 10, 20 years. So it's unique in various ways.
Okay. Okay, so I would like us to first focus on self-finance.
Okay, sure.
How is it really like? Break it down for us.
So self-finance is somebody who goes to Buena Vista, looks at one of the houses there, decides they want to acquire. They are told the price, maybe $300,000-400,000 US or whatever the price is.
Right.
And they actually do have that kind of money, either in liquid assets, in cash, or they can sell some other property and buy. So they literally do just that. They write a check and pay for it, and the house is theirs. Or maybe they're given an installment plan to pay over months or years, 2 or 3 years or 18 months. And they make those payments over the stipulated period. It's not for everyone. You must have the resources, or you must know where the resources are coming from to do it. If you don't qualify for that, or if you can't meet those terms, then you go plan B.
Right. Okay, so there are downsides to self-financing your home, I believe. So walk us through that.
Right. So let's talk about the upsides first. Upside is you walk in there, you got the checkbook, you got the pen, you write the check, and away you go.
Right.
You don't have to explain anything to anyone. It's your money. It's that freedom that to make that decision. There's also the speed of the transaction. It's as simple as a bank transfer. The downside is the money you just paid could have been used some other way to generate more investment return for you. Right. So you could have put that money into some kind of instrument and borrowed money to buy the same house. So then you'd have the house and the money. But if you write a check and pay for it, then the money goes, the house comes, and you only have the one. But if you leveraged it, that's the term. If you kept that money in an account somewhere earning interest, you could come to us, take a loan, buy the house, and actually use the interest to pay for the house. Then you have your lump sum and your house. So there are clever ways of going about it if you understand how these things work. So it always makes sense to use other people's money. There are those who might disagree, but as you look at the numbers, you must agree that if you have a means of borrowing and keeping your money, it sometimes makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so let's just suppose that with coming to FNB Bank for a mortgage. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Right.
So again, we start with the advantages. The advantages is that first off, you get to keep your money. We've spoken about that, right? So the money that you probably had or you didn't have, you don't touch. Not all of it anyway. You come to us. We look at your situation, your financial situation, your credit status, and we agree how much we can safely lend you towards the purchase.
Right.
Which means the rest of your funds can be deployed elsewhere. Secondly, we come to the transaction with a very good knowledge of the industry. Buena Vista we know very well. We go back years with them. Whichever property you come to us with, generally whichever part of Ghana you're coming to us from, we've probably done a transaction there. So we'll tell you what we see about the land title, about the validity of the title. If there are any issues, we try to flag them. So we are your partner in the deal. That's how I always describe ourselves. We're not just giving you money. We are your partners. And we are your partners for the simple reason that your money is going in and so is ours, right? So we are partners. You're putting in 30. We are probably putting in 200,000 or something. So we probably even have more in the house than you do. So we are partners in the transaction. So we take it very seriously. We are checking out your income to make sure you are not overburdening yourself. And we are checking out the property to make sure the title is okay, the lease is okay. Because there are thousands of things that could go wrong, right? You could buy property only to find out it belongs to somebody else. You could buy the property to find out there isn't enough time left on the lease.
And these are real life situations.
Real life situations which happen to people. All kinds of things can happen. So it makes sense to have another pair of eyes at the table looking out for you. And that's what we are.
Oh, but I'm sure for people who come to Buena Vista Homes, the moment they come to you, Buena Vista, There's no need for us
Generally, that's the idea. We still check though. We still check, but generally, the more familiar we are with the transaction with the partner, we know exactly what to look for. Yes, but that's exactly how it is.
Right, interesting. So you see, when you want to buy a Buena Vista home and you go to F&B, the process is a lot faster for you because, see, I'm putting you in the hands of two safe brands. I mean, what more could you ask for? Please give us a call now. The number is 0303-401-401. This is a Buena Vista Homes real estate show, proudly sponsored by Buena Vista Homes. Today we are discussing the various financing options for your home. I would like us to go for a break. We'll be back shortly. Let's go for a break. We are back shortly. You're welcome back from the break. You're watching the Buena Vista Homes real estate show with me, Efia Fosua. We are streaming live on YouTube, so do well to subscribe to our channel just so you don't miss any of our videos. The show is proudly sponsored by Buena Vista Homes, where homes are not built but beautifully crafted. Today we are discussing the various financing options when it comes to home ownership, and I have with me my special guest, Kojo Ado-Kufuor. He is the executive head of mortgage business at the First National Bank. Hello, Kojo. Good to have you again.
Thanks.
Let's now talk about the different types of mortgages.
Yeah.
Walk us through that.
Right. So there are several types of the mortgage product, even though the underlying structure is pretty much the same.
Right.
So we've spoken a few minutes ago about the purchase mortgage, when a loan is being taken to buy property, right? So under that, you could either be buying the property for yourself or doing what we call a buy to let. You're buying to rent out for rental income. Those are investment properties, right? But it's generally a purchase mortgage. You're buying a house that doesn't already belong to you. So that's one kind of mortgage. There's another one called the equity release mortgage. Equity release means you're an existing homeowner. You've decided to release equity in your property to, for example, get solar panels. Let's say you don't like your electricity bills, you want to buy solar panels and go solar. You can use your house as collateral, raise the necessary funding, and buy the panels and go green, if you like. So that's another kind of mortgage where the house is already in your possession and you're using it to release equity. There's the construction mortgage. For those who don't want to build, or who don't want to buy, they can build, right? You can take a loan and build, right? So that's given to you in tranches to construct your mortgage, or to construct your house. There's the land purchase mortgage where you want to buy land and then maybe build on it or not build on it, if as the case may be. You can use the mortgage to buy land as well. So you can buy land, you can build a property, you can buy and build, you can release equity. So the various combinations, but when you get into it, you realize pretty much the underlying structure is the same. How the transaction is structured differs from one to the other, because in one case, you don't own the property, you're about to acquire it. So the due diligence is different from the other scenario where it's yours and you're bringing it as collateral for us to give you long-term funding.
Right. So what then are the factors that qualify one for a mortgage, the different types?
So let's take it one by one. If it's, when you look at the purchase mortgage, you're looking to buy property, we would be looking at you as the buyer, making sure your income is verifiable and sustainable, right? We are looking at your credit, whether you borrowed in the past, how you behaved when you borrowed. So we run your credit reference bureau checks on you to see what your history looks like.
How do you check on all that?
There are credit reference agencies in Ghana. So we go to them and we ask for the reports they have on you. Because whenever you borrow, they get feedback on whether you paid
So all the loans you borrowed from 19.
Yes, and sometimes people are pleasantly surprised the level of details we have. Yeah, it goes back a fair bit, right? So we know what you did, we know where you've been, we know how much you borrowed, whether you paid or didn't pay, whether you paid on time or you misbehaved yourself, and that determines whether we want to deal with you, because how you treated the other lender will determine how you're going to treat us, right? So we take a look at that. So we look at your income, your credit, and we form a view whether we are happy with you as a credit exposure. Then we turn our attention to the property. We check out the title documentation. Is it valid? You know, we do valuation to make sure the value is fair. You know, make sure you're not buying a property that's overvalued or undervalued. Then we turn our attention to the vendor. Just to make sure the vendor actually owns the property, and we have our background checks we do on the vendor. So it's quite extensive because the amounts involved are substantial.
Huge, I agree.
So sometimes you'll hear comments such as, and I'm sure we'll get there in a minute. People say, "Well, the process takes too long, or it's too complicated." Of course, it's complicated.
It won't be too long when you're buying a Buena Vista home, given that you've worked with them for such a long time.
Exactly. So as I said, there are three boxes to tick. There's the borrower, there's the property, and there's the vendor. Buena Vista as a company, we definitely know. I mean, we've been with them since day one, so we know the parties. We actually went to school with them.
Interesting.
Yes. So we know the property, different sites. We know the vendor. The person buying then becomes a major concern, as in who is this person, what's their credit worthiness. But if that's all straightforward, then yes, it's a much more simplified process. Yes, exactly.
I see. And don't worry. We'll be back shortly. Let's go for a quick break. The show is proudly sponsored by Buena Vista Homes, where homes are not built, but beautifully crafted. We are back shortly after the break. Do stay.
Motion detectors, panic alarms, intercom and ring video doorbells, razor wire fencing, fire evacuation and intelligent detection systems, sectional garage doors automation, face recognition and biometric door locks, private security guard training and management services, and many more. With Intrasec security systems, you can have peace of mind knowing that your home and your family are safe and secure. Locate us at B450 Avandi Street, near KNUST Bamso in Kumasi. Contact us on the numbers below for more info and inquiries. Intrasec. We secure to protect.
You're welcome back. You're watching the Buena Vista Homes Real Estate Show. The show is proudly sponsored by Buena Vista Homes, where homes are not built, you know already, but beautifully crafted. Today we are discussing financing options when it comes to home ownership. I want to make it easier, a lot easier for you to buy that beautiful home you're seeing on your screen now. And so I have a special guest for you. We've delved into the basics when it comes to mortgage application and all of that. Kojo, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
You ended, before we went for that break, you ended on the KYC.
Yes.
Kindly carry on.
So KYC stands for Know Your Customer.
Okay.
And it's the process through which your bank or institution you're dealing with goes through to get to know you better.
Right.
So you fill a form which asks all kinds of information about you, your background, your income, where do you work, how much do you earn every month.
Right.
We're trying to figure out who you are.
Okay.
Then we ask for supporting documentation. We need to know evidence of your address. You've given us an address. Prove to us that's your address. Show us a bill. Okay. We need evidence of your income. You've told us how much you earn. Can we see some pay slips?
Okay.
You've told us how much you earn on a monthly basis and the bank account it gets transferred to. Can we see some bank statements?
Okay.
So we ask for such evidence. And then, depending on whether you're in Ghana or overseas, we run different kinds of credit checks.
Okay.
If you're based locally, we run the checks on our own. If you're based overseas, we ask you to run the checks, send them over, and then we cross-check.
So even our friends in the diaspora can still apply?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, beautiful.
This is wherever you are in the world, you don't have to be in Ghana.
Right.
You don't have to be resident in Ghana. As long as the property is here, we can deal with you. So, and as I said, we've done transactions for Ghanaians living around the world, Australia,
Right.
US, Japan, everywhere. We've done that. So it's not limited by geography. Wherever you are, we can service you.
Right.
All we need are the documents we're talking about.
Okay, okay. I see. For our friends in the diaspora, I would like you to walk us through what the process, how different is that from our friends in Ghana who'd want to apply?
Well, I think
Is there any difference?
it's pretty much the same. The requirements are the same. The only slight difference is that in Ghana, we don't need you to run the credit report. We run it ourselves.
Right.
If you're outside, we'll ask you to run the credit, send it to us, and then we run our checks on your report.
Okay.
Sometimes you have people applying from parts of the world where English isn't the national language. So we get all the documentation in a foreign language. We had it in Dutch, in Japanese. We translate into English and then look at them. And
So language is not a barrier at all.
it's not a barrier, no, definitely not a barrier. So we can deal with that. Other than that, the requirements are pretty much the same, unless we see something on your income statements or your pay slips which raises questions. So for example, recently we did a transaction where the applicant lived in one country but was working in 2 countries because they were working from home.
Okay.
So they're giving us income slips from 2 different
Both
companies in 2 different countries,
Okay.
which is possible, right? So we had to kind of do checks in both countries just to make sure everything was above par. And once we got that confirmation, we're able to go ahead and do the transaction.
Okay, so I understand mortgages can be applied, but can be obtained in both foreign currency or in your local
Absolutely,
currency.
yeah.
What should inform the choice of currency that I opt for?
So there are several factors you need to look at.
Okay.
And you're right, that you can borrow in either local currency cities or borrow in foreign currency, mainly US dollars.
Right.
Sometimes we offer sterling, but that's very limited now. But normally it's US dollars or cedis. Now, which currency you can opt for really depends on your personal circumstances.
Okay.
Conventional wisdom says if you earn in cedis, borrow in cedis, right? Because your currency of income is cedis, go take a cedi loan. That is true.
Right.
But it's also the case that cedi rates are quite high. Cedi interest rates are quite high. So an individual earning in cedis might look at cedi rates and realize that they don't qualify for the amount they need to acquire the property. That's a fact.
Okay.
Right. So then they look at the dollar option, which has relatively lower rates, but then exposes you to exchange rate movements. In other words, you earn cedis and you've taken a loan in dollars. So you're supposed to pay, say, $100 a month. You don't have to physically pay the $100. You can pay the cedi equivalent of the $100. But every month, depending on how the exchange rate has behaved, the $100 could be 100 cedis. It could be 500 cedis. It could be 1,000 cedis. So you have that bit of volatility in your servicing. And it comes down to how you feel about that, right? A higher interest rate, sometimes twice as high as the dollar rate, versus a moving exchange rate.
Okay.
So there's no easy answer there, and it depends on the individual. Some people earn a salary in cedis, but which gets adjusted quite frequently depending on local conditions. There are people who get their salaries adjusted every year. It's called cost of living adjustment every year, sometimes twice a year. Some people get it 4 times a year. So it depends on your personal circumstances. You can't say that person borrowed in cedis, so I'm also going to borrow in cedis. You can't say that person borrowed in dollars, so I'm going to borrow in dollars. It depends on who you are, what you do, and how you can withstand shocks, either in interest rates or in exchange rate.
Wow. Unfortunately, we would have to wrap up, but we do have a part 2 of this conversation. Kojo is still going to be here with us. We'll bring you part 2 of this conversation. In wrapping up, what would you say to the viewer?
My advice has always been, the product is a very versatile product. If in doubt, reach out to First National Bank. Get advice that is peculiar to you. Get your own advice, right, from us. Let's understand who you are, because we can help you. We can definitely help you own a Buena Vista home.
Oh, there you have it. We can definitely help you own a Buena Vista home. And so give us a call on 0303 401 401. This is actually my favorite number, 0303 401 401. Or you can call us on 050 130 4728. So you see, I brought you Buena Vista Homes, and I brought you Kojo Adokufo as well. I'm putting you in the hands of very safe people. So please give me a call. I have mentioned that if you want to have a tour in any of the Buena Vista enclaves, particularly the Marine Drive residences, please give me a call. I will take you personally there just so you can see what I have seen, just so you can feel what I have felt. So please do give us a call or reach out to us on our website, www.mybuenahomes.com. We are back next week with part 2 of this conversation. This is a Buena Vista Homes real estate show. My name is Efia Fosua. See you next week.